Hi everybody, how's it going? It's Jackson. Welcome back to Endeavours for the 13th of December. As always, I'll have timecodes in the description if you want to skip stuff. So I just want to let everyone know I made a 2-hour long playthrough of an old game I used to play. I've uploaded that now, it's public, so I just want to apologise. It is a bit bare bones at the start, but I'm just not used to bloody 2-hour long commentary. But yeah, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do 2-hour videos of that game every 1 week, and then every second week I'll do something else. So at the moment I'm looking at doing Don't Starve, and I'll just do like a little bit shorter videos that one. But yeah, it just depends. If people like the stuff, let me know. If people don't like the stuff, if they want to see other things, or if you have any like criticisms of like what I need to do, like to speak or like keep people interested, let me know. Like I just don't know what I should be doing. That's all, because I've never done this shit before. So if you got any words of wisdom or ideas for me, just let me know. But yeah, that's the plan right now, and I hope you like it. All right, so on to Endeavours now. It's pretty good. Also, Golden Vendor will be in the description too. I'll have that at the end. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty good. Every option here is pretty viable. Won't take you very long. The only caveat is, it's not a really significant caveat, but you have to be level 10 to get to Cyrodiil. So you might not be able to do this if you don't have any characters above level 10. I assume that's a very rare circumstance though. But yeah, other than that, you will need to either group up with someone or get a companion. It is more convenient to get a companion, but usually players will perform better in Infinite Archive. Yeah, either option I don't think is wrong. Just depends if you have someone on at the time. So I will say, if I were to choose, I'd go crafting with any skill. I'd probably go Amorphous Foes, and then I'd go healing in Cyrodiil. Yeah, just very quickly. Do this one last, I believe, because you can port into Cyrodiil from anywhere outside of Cyrodiil itself. So what you can do is you can do these ones here, and then once they're done, when you're in the middle of nowhere in some cases, Infinite Archive is sort of similar, I guess. However, you can just get away shot immediately after. So I guess you could also do Infinite Archive after that, but yeah, I'd probably just do this last. Alright, so I'm going to start with crafting with any skill. This one here is probably the most relaxed of the lot. The only initial bit for this is that you're going to want 2 recipes, or at least 1. Now, it's going to cost you a bit of gold. If you don't have any gold, I'd advise you check the description for the tutorial videos. One of them's the early game gold tutorial that I've made. You can get enough gold for that pretty quick if you just follow that guide. So what you're looking for is any chef in the game. You can go to any one, but I just go this one because it's convenient in the case of Addon. This way shines unlocked by default, so it's easy to get here, and also the location I use for crafting with any skill is right there. So just open the chef menu, and you want baked apples and banana surprise, just these 2 recipes. They're usable from level 1, and they just require apples and bananas, both of which you can get at the Addon Pier. Now, if you have access to reds, and you can craft all that stuff, you can just do that, that's fine. But I'm assuming those kinds of people are probably not watching this video too much. If you don't have access to any of that stuff, it's easy just doing this instead. And even then, it's probably quicker just doing this anyway, if you don't really care about reds. So you're headed to the square pier over here. You can do this in other locations, I just find this to be the most convenient. Yeah, just as long as you find any chef, and yeah, just you got some apples on hand or something. Okay, so once you get to this pier, you'll find this tray full of bananas and apples. And you find the apple basket over here. This has usually got stuff in it. Not always. It's just the nature of containers in this game is a bit weird. There's another apple basket there. And that'll give you more than enough stuff to craft with any skill with. And there is also a cooking fire right here. So with your recipes, you just go to food, go to fruit dishes, and you'll see them both here. So all you need is just go 4, and then craft, and you're done. And it's good to have this in the long run anyway, because you can also do this for the weeklies whenever they are crafted with any skill. It's also very easy to do that way. Now, later on, as you level up, you'll also get the provisioning skill line leveled up by doing this. It's very slow, but it's a sure way. This passive here, I would advise putting some points into this if you want to do this in the long run, because when the weeklies come up, it'll mean that you have to get the half and then like a quarter of the materials required to craft like 30 items at once, which is going to be really helpful for just shortening the amount of time it takes to do this stuff. It's not really going to matter much here, but yeah, definitely for the weekly, it'll make a difference. Because yeah, this just, for every apple you get 2 of the baked apples, or every banana you get 2 bananas price, all that stuff. So yeah, really helpful. Okay, next up, Amorphous Foes. So Netches and Voroplasms, unfortunately, they're like the only ones that work for this. I still, to this day, am not aware of any others. Like, there's the blood gloop things that you can also get, but they are basically just Voroplasms with just a different skin. So it's just Voroplasms and Netches, essentially. So there's 2 locations I mainly suggest for getting Netches. One is in the northwestern side of Davon's Watch. You start with this Rayshrine by default, so it's easy to get here. Basically, where the Harborage is over here, there'll be about 6 Netches over here. Unfortunately, these locations, these are overland, and it means that other players will come over here and do the same thing. And as you saw there, someone just killed it before I could get there. So now I'd have to wait for these things to respawn. That could take some time. Yeah, you can see a Netch over there, so just give it a tap. Don't absolutely obliterate the things. Because, yeah, you're just stopping other people from being able to do the endeavor. Don't be one of those people, please. Okay, the other area is at the Sulphur Pools Wayshrine over here. If you head west, you'll see a bit of a, like, hill range over here, and you can see some Netches over here. This is probably the best spot, because there is quite a few here. There's usually like 10. Yeah, you sometimes get bull Netches, which is nice, because they take longer to kill, so it means you get more of a chance to kill them. Or at least get some participation in there. Yeah, just all along here. There is also a Netch world boss over here, the Brahma's Grove. This one spawns the big boss, and there's 2 little Netch carved. And then over here, there's like 3 more Netches that you can kill as well. That's 5. But relying on that is also quite rough, because the if the boss is dead, then you're just obviously going to have to wait a couple of minutes. A couple of them around random locations in Vardenfell, but they're usually in like groups of 2 or 3. Urshi Laku camp over here has a couple. There's usually, I think, a couple around Roundus Ancestral Tomb. In the Nichuleftinth public dungeon, there's a few Netches in the like bottom section, around where the trolls are and stuff. So you can find them there. An absolute, what is it? Like a guaranteed option, if you want an instant set of Netches, Darkshade Caverns 2 in Deshan. This dungeon, the second main boss, after defeating the Transmuted Hive Lord, that spawns a crazy amount of Netches. It's like literally hundreds. So that's a very easy way to get your 5 Amorphous Foes. The only issue is trying to get a group for this it would probably take a while, and trying to do this on your own, it is possible, and on normal it's not that bad if you have like a proper setup build. But the Transmuted Hive Lord is a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with on your own, because it's got like 2 minion scribs that fucking knock you down and stun you and shit. It can be very annoying, but you can do that, and it will probably only take you like 5 or 10 minutes doing that too, which in some cases is probably faster than trying to rely on these Netches and them just constantly being dead with everybody blasting away with fucking Arcanist Beam and all that shit. So yeah, that is another option. If you want to get to this area here in Stonefalls, use Home Tours. There's another video in the description of how Home Tours works. It's basically just like having a bunch of extra Wayshrines. It's really helpful. Ebony Flask Inn Room or Ebonheart Chateau. These 2 houses are what you're looking for. You could also use Craigenholm, which is kind of close too, I guess. Actually, no, that one's closer, actually. Yeah, just use Craigenholm. Never mind. Okay, now, Voroplasms, on the other hand, these are a good option, but they are completely DLC related. Like, you can only find them in DLC zones. So, what the fuck? Okay, so there's also some Voroplasmic Corpses. These are also considered Amorphous Foes. So anything that has this like green gloop. And yeah, the blood clot things that you can get in the Vampirism themed boss fights as well counts. Now, one good option here is in the Blackwood Zone, Zeemhock's Lagoon. This boss spawns after you kill, like, do a certain amount of damage to its health pool. It will spawn 2 of those, like, of the Voroplasms. They will go over where all the skeletons are on the floor, they'll turn them into the voroplasmic corpses, and you can kill them over and over to get this done. Now, what I would advise you do is just get him to 80% HP, get him to spawn the 2 voroplasms, have them both spawn a corpse, or if you struggle to deal with that, just kill one and let one of them spawn a bunch of voroplasmic corpses, and just focus on the corpses and then kill the voroplasms. Once there's 5 in total, then just kill the voroplasms first, because they will keep spawning stuff, and that's annoying. But yeah, as soon as there's 2 voroplasms and 3 voroplasmic corpses, that should be enough for you. And even then, like, maybe you can just kill the ones out here first, because there's the 2 corpses here and then the 1 voroplasm. So yeah, just the 2 voroplasms over there would be enough if you kill those 3. So getting here, it's a bit of a pain unless you have home tours. Willow Pond Haven is the one you want to use. So just travel to this. You got this way. There should be a way up, I believe, here. And you should be able to just get to the way shrine. And then once you've unlocked this, it's really easy to use from that point. You can also find voroplasmic corpses and voroplasms in the Sophia Cavern. The main boss is a voroplasm. There are also voroplasms in Northern Elsewhere in Orcrest. The public dungeon in the middle, Nordigloop the Clog. This guy here. What you want to do is from the entrance, you just come through here. There'll be a trapdoor here you can go through. You go past some skeevers, and then you'll see all around the balcony and Nordigloop himself, they're all voroplasms. There's about 10 or 8 of them, and that also works. But I do find this is also usually pretty busy with players when Amorphous Foes comes up. So yeah, your mileage will vary with all of these, except for the option in Darkshade Caverns 2. I feel like that's the only one that usually doesn't change, because it's instant, so nobody else can go in there and kill them. But it will take longer than some of the other options potentially will. Yeah, let me reiterate. So, Blackwood DLC is required for Zimhawk's Lagoon, Merkmire DLC is required for Sophia Cavern, and then elsewhere the DLC is required for Orcrest, for the Nordigloop option. Or the balcony plasm, I guess. Alright, so now let's take a look at healing in PvP areas. So amount here is missing health. That's the only real important thing you need to know here. So the easiest way to do this basically without having to go into Cyrodiil and fight players have to try and figure out where the fuck they are and shit. You just jump straight in and do it. So you need something that takes away health, something that gives you health. That's all you need. There is ways to automate this, and I'll just go through that. But first I just want to go through the universal way that you can do this on any build. So you just need 2 things. You need a heal, something like Vigor or class heals, like for example with Nightblades to get Offering, and then things to take away health. If you're a Nightblade, you also have Siphoning attacks, which is, I think, the best option here. But yeah, obviously you need to level up Nightblade a bit or have this skill line up, and yeah. But this skill line is honestly like all you need to be able to do it. Now the other option that's available for every class is Blood Altar. To get this, you either need to go to this tavern here. You can also go to this. Probably the quickest one to get to is a Racy Line over here, where this icon is on the main floor. There'll be a orc woman that you can talk to for a quest. Just accept the quest, you unlock the Undaunted Line, you get Blood Altar, you put a point into that, and then yeah, once you've got a heal, you're ready to go. So these, yeah, they take away health. That's the main thing about them. And once you got those, then you can head straight into Cyrodiil. Now, obviously, you don't have to do that. You can fight players, or you can just... You don't have to even fight players. You can just go find like some enemy NPCs and use them. But this is the option that has just like no like... You don't even have to think about it, right? You just go in and press a bunch of buttons and you're done. So I'm going to go Imperial City here instead of you can just go Grey Host, but you just have to be a bit aware that in Alliance Locked, if you go there for 5 minutes, it locks to that alliance. So if you want to play a bunch of different alliances, or like if there's one specific alliance you like going on, yeah, you just have to be a bit careful there. But I assume people who do PvP already know about that stuff. Probably not even watching this, because you know how this stuff works. Okay, so once you get here, you can just do it straight away as soon as you get in. But yeah, just find a spot that you like, something out of the way, so you're not annoying people with a bunch of noises. And yeah, just use your ability that takes away health, and then just start healing yourself. And that's all there is to it. So it does not take long if you've got a few things together to use. Not long at all. So if I just grab Healthy Offering, so Vigor's over time, and then Offering is just your instant heal. Now, if you're a vampire, you can make it even quicker, because vampires have... I'm not a vampire in this, but they've got a skill called Blood Frenzy, and it's just a toggle. So it's a bit like Vigor, it takes away health over time. So you can use Vigor and Vampirism, Blood Frenzy, and you can use these two together. So you've got an overtime effect of each, and then you've got a instant cast of each. So yeah, that's all there is to it. So yeah, it's pretty damn easy to get this one done without even fighting anybody. Now, the automated version is Bannerbearer. So let me just check this back on. With Bannerbearer, there is a setup you can get if you get the Immobilize Focus and the Sage's Remedy signature. It doesn't really matter too much what you get here. Preferably get something like Courage, which increases your weapon and spell damage, which actually impacts healing, so it's useful. You can also get more crit chance. You can get better regen if you want. You can get more weapon and spell damage. You can get this other ways, but that's one way to get it. Berserk, probably not too important. Heroism, probably not important either. But yeah, best case scenario, get Courage. And yeah, it's really helpful. So all you have to do once you got this set up with Immobilize and Sage's Remedy is just chuck it on your bar and just press one button, and this will slowly get progress over time. Well, actually, it's kind of slow, but you know, you can just get up, you can go do other stuff, you can walk away. It's your call what you want to do now. So yeah, if you don't have Immobilize, because you don't get that easily, you have to do major skill dailies for a while to get Immobilize on each character. Instead, if you are a vampire, you can also get it without Immobilize, just Sage's Remedy, which is a lot easier to get. Because Sage's Remedy, you just have to complete the quest line to get that. Whereas if you just use anything here, it doesn't matter. Preferably like Restore Resources maybe to reduce costs. If you use this with Blood Frenzy with just Sage's Remedy, those two together work to do the same thing. It's just that your health will go down quicker than your health will go up a little bit. But it will take ages for it to actually matter. Now, the only thing to worry about there is if you... well, it's not a problem in Cyrodiil because you can't get a bounty here. But if you accidentally forget about Blood Frenzy and you use it in a city, it gets your bounty as soon as you go near people. But when you leave Cyrodiil or Imperial City, it disables that anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem either. Just be aware that, yeah, Blood Frenzy as a vampire is a criminal act, so that will get you a bounty if you use it in towns and stuff. Yeah, like I said, it shouldn't be a problem. And that's all there is to this one. If you want to leave Imperial City, you just go to this tunnel here, this gate here. This takes you to the exit, and it takes you straight back to where you came in from, so it's really handy that way. If you want to leave Cyrodiil, the safe zones that you get into, like the gates, so you'll pop up at one of these gates here, depending on your alliance, they're all the same, basically. And they all have a way shrine. And so in this case, you probably pop up here, so you just go over here to the way shrine, and you just travel out like you would any other zone. Hello? What do you mean out of range? I was right there. Alright, using weapon poisons. So this one takes a few minutes, mainly because there is a global cooldown on poisons of 10 seconds, but it's pretty simple. So firstly, you're going to need some poisons. You need 10. The easiest poisons to use, or to acquire, the crown poisons that you get through the daily rewards, you'll get a bunch of these. It will take you a few days to get any here, but like the last few months, we had a bunch that came up at the start of the months. So yeah, you should... Honestly, I assume most people just have shit tons of these things lying around, these lethal poisons here. If you don't, though, you can also buy them from vendors, from alchemists. So they come up as cloudy health poisons, ravage health poisons, and then hindering poisons. Just be aware you can't use these on target skeletons in houses, which is relevant for the next part. So yeah, you can just buy these. You can buy them on guild stores too for cheaper. Because you can see these are 40 gold, but on guild stores they're like 5 gold each. So maybe try that first, but that might take you more time than just buying them out right here. You could have to run around a bit for that. Yeah, honestly, just use your crown poisons. You will get so many of these fucking things from Daily Rewards. It's like you will have to start like destroying them at some point because they take up so much inventory space. Okay, so there's honestly, yeah, 3 ways you could do this while you do other stuff. While you're doing your Infinite Archive run, you could do this because you're dealing with multiple enemies at once there. You could use public dungeons as well. Things like Toothmore Gully over here have lots of enemies in like small areas. So you can just use AoE skills to apply poisons quickly through them. But the best option, I think, is to go to a... either use a heavy attack on a target skeleton, or if you can get a... If you know of a guild hall or like a house that you have that has a ton of target dummies in like a small area, that's probably your best bet. Because they don't move, they don't fight back. It's pretty easy to use that too. But if you want to do 2 of these at once, I am going to go into Infinite Archive and show you what I do there. So what you want to make sure is put your poisons on one of your bars. You can put it on both, but do be aware, even if you have 2 different poisons, they both share the same global cooldown. So you'll have to, if this one fires, this one won't fire for another 10 seconds. It's not something you can do. That being said, it's probably a good idea to have both because, yeah, you want to be applying these as often as possible. But yeah, what you're going to need is, the way these work is they apply from 20% of any... they have 20% chance to apply from any weapon skill or light attack or heavy attack. Weapon skills are the things you'll, like, if you use a weapon skill, like an AoE weapon skill on a bunch of enemies, that's 20% chance to apply on a shit ton of enemies at once. So that's the quickest way you'll apply this. So my advice is use a couple of weapon skills like AoE, damage over time, or direct damage weapon skills. So here I'm going to use Blade Cloak, and I'm going to use the Wall of Elements skills. You could also use things like the scribing skills as well. Dual Wields Traveling Knife is great because it's just an instant cast with multi-target. It's excellent. But yeah, you kind of need this, and it can be a pain in the ass to get. Basically, just at least have like one of these spamable skills like Arrow Spray, Wall of Elements. You could have Impulse. Yeah, Whirlwind. You can have Cleave and Critical Charge as well. Those are good. Yeah, just make sure you have some of these weapon skills. So what we want to do is go to Infinite Archive now. So to find Infinite Archive, you go to Apocrypha. Everybody's got access to this, even though it's in the Apocrypha DLC zone. It's actually base game. So yeah, you can just join this whenever you want. And it will show up on your map as soon as you create new characters. So yeah, everyone should have access to this. Right, like I said at the start, you can use companions. I would advise doing that. Even though companions are less competent than players are, you're just not waiting around for a player to show up or like get ready. So in allies with companions, I usually just go Ember and I put a damage build on. So I just got a bunch of like Shattered and Quickened and mostly aggressive, but aggressive traits are very expensive. Yeah, probably Prolific if you've got them maxed out. What's the one that increases their crit chance? I think it's Focused? Yeah, Focused. Stuff like that works. But yeah, other than that, just get Medium Armor. Like, and Medium Armor increases the damage done anyway. Obviously you can use like a healer or something if you want, but yeah, just to speed this up, you can use them to deal damage. That's usually what I do. Okay, so to use our poisons at the same time, just going to put our AoE skills down, and as you can hear just there, we've already applied one. So as time goes, it'll just apply poisons while you do this, so you'll just speed up the process a little bit. So again, just chuck these on the floor. We've already applied another one. That's good. Now while you do attacks, maybe like heavy attack in between, because each heavy attack has 2 chances to apply it. 20% each. Right, so on the third stage, or third wave, sorry, of a Infinite Archive stage, you get one of these bigger enemies. Just be aware. They take longer to kill. It shouldn't be too much of an issue. So I've got an add-on that is like making the firing noise there to tell me that the poison's being used and is now on cooldown. It also tells me how long it'll be until the next one, which is really nice. That add-on is called Poison Tracker. It's a bit broken normally. You have to jimmy it a bit to get it to work, but there's someone who went through in the comments how to get it to work. But it only works on the crown poisons too, which I assume is what most people use for this anyway, but yeah. Okay, so every time you complete a verse... every time you complete a stage, you get a verse. Some of these can be very powerful, if you can get the offensive ones, because there's not really going to be many cases where, especially if you have a player with you, that you're going to need these, because in the early stages, it's pretty damn easy. Neither of these are very useful to me. Yeah, some of these can be really good, some of these can be absolutely shit, especially, like, even some of the offensive ones are kind of terrible. With the assault one, for example, it's fucking just pointless. Use that one. Right, some of these enemies, pain in the ass, like these fucking conduits, for example. They put the negates on the floor. Yeah, your companion will get attacked, usually. Don't worry, that's completely normal. And as long as they have, like, have armor at all, they should be fine. If they're naked, then it might be a problem. Yeah, they always start with some armor, so it should be okay. It will become a problem in the later arcs if you do long runs of Infinite Archive, but it's usually not going to be something that you do just for endeavors. Waiting for the cooldown. I'm just going to leave these guys up just a little longer. There we go. Poison off, and that's it. So now that the next stage is done, now that we've got our 10 poisons, see, it doesn't take too long with this, but now I'm just going to get rid of them, because, yeah, they slow me down a little bit. Then we get another verse. Class embodiment, really damn good. All our class damage is higher, so I'm just going to get rid of the blade cloak there. So, between the stages, there'll be a boss. Usually this first boss, though, is pretty easy. War Chief Ozasai from Fungal Grotto 1. It's pretty straightforward. So this guy just does a heavy attack. That's kind of it. Yeah. This is where having a damage companion is really helpful. Because, like, progressive, or not progressive, like, sustained damage over time is gonna speed this up much more. And that's it. So now you get a chest with some goodies in it. You get some Archive of Fortunes, which is the currency that you use in Infinite Archive. And yeah, we just continue. So same thing, we get a vision this time instead of a verse, which is basically just a less powerful verse that lasts the whole run of Infinite Archive. Don't really need to worry about this though, because if you just want to do the Endeavor, you're not going to be here long. So we just continue on. And the cycle literally repeats. So we get 2 more stages with the regular enemies, and then we get a cycle with the boss. Now, once you want to leave, you go to the next stage that you haven't started yet, and instead of going and starting the fight, just go to the index here, and this takes you back out. So just hit this thing, and then the portal to get out is right there. If you get a boss that you, like, if the first boss that you deal with is, like, too difficult for you, or too much of a pain in the ass, just come over here to this hourglass here, next to the blue flame, and this here, if you hit it, it resets the instance. So you'll just go back in, and there'll be 2 more stages that are, like, easier to do. Yeah, shouldn't need to do that at all. Like, the early cycle bosses are pretty straightforward, usually. Yeah, from here, you just go back to the Way Shrine, go back to Apocrypha, go back in, and it should reset. Alright, so now we jump into the Golden Vendor. I just also want to point out, I'm in Vengeance right now, and you can still access the Golden Vendor, which is nice. And yeah, you'll still have your gold and everything, so... Alright, Black Gem Monstrosity and Lady Thorn are the Helms this week. Lady Thorn isn't amazing, but Black Gem Monstrosity is quite possibly the hardest hitting monster set for PvE in the game. I feel like it might actually not be too bad for PvP either, but yeah. I just don't know if it can crit though. That's the only thing. But yeah, so basically the biggest problem with this set is the fact that you cannot use it unless you use a soul magic spammable. You can use like damage over time effects, but you're not going to be applying it enough for it to get off, like to apply it off of cooldown, basically, which is the 6 seconds. And in that case, you're really limiting its damage per second. And the soul gem or soul magic spambles in this game are some of the weakest spambles that you can choose from. But what this set appears to do is just pull them up to the level of some of the other ones. But yeah, this dungeon is quite new, quite advanced. So just being able to get this is probably good if you got the gold. But do I think it's necessary? Only if you really like soul gem spam, soul magic spammables. Only if you're like rocking a very specific role-playing build, something like that. If you're not, probably don't fork out this much gold for something like this when there's some base game options that are basically just as powerful. Lady Thorn, the only real problem with this set is the major meme from this. There are really easy ways to get this buff. For example, in Destruction Style, it's Vengeance, so you can't really see it here, but the regular version of Frost Clench that you get as a tank, that applies Major Meme. In any case, swapping a skill for a full monster set is better value, and then you also get other things that do the same thing. In this case, funnily enough, in Scribing, if you go Wield Soul, one of the options is Maim, and this also applies Major Maim for 10 seconds. But the difference between this and this shoulder, or this monster set, is the monster set's got a cooldown of 20 seconds, so you can't apply it for the whole duration. But you can apply that Scribing ability for the entire duration. So, funnily enough, you get better value using Black Gem Monstrosity and running Wield Soul, like, with Maim, than you probably would using the set. That's what I personally think. The only thing I believe is that... Is it AoE? Nearby enemies. So I suppose it applies it in a group. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but you can briefly see... Maybe if I increase the quality... Oh, no, you can't. You can just see the circle around there. It's pretty big. So, yeah, applying Major Meme to a group of enemies might be okay, but you're going to have to stand still for this thing, which is not really something you're going to be able to use in PvP much. Because, yeah, people will probably see this thing and just run away. I guess you could use something like Dark Convergence to try to pull people in. But in that case, trying to like focus on reducing people's damage is probably not what you're worrying about. If you're using Dark Convergence, it's probably just trying to kill people. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this thing is not going to be much use to you when you can just get this kind of buff for a single target in so much more reliable ways. Yeah, it's not awful, but it's also not great. Just this buff used to be much stronger too, but they nerfed the shit out of it a while back. It used to be way stronger. Yeah, I wouldn't buy this either myself. Let's look at the jewelry. So, Crimson Oath, True Swarm, Droif, and 3 Queens. I swear I've just had Droif. Alright, so Crimson Oath. Arguably one of the best tanking like support sets in the game. Here's the thing, right? When you're in combat, casting an ability, drinking a potion, or using a poison. So, basically, when you exist in PvE, you're basically going to be applying this thing. So, it's really easy to use. It puts out a shockwave, reduces enemy armor. Now, in PvE, I suppose in PvP too, it's really good. The part of like optimizing your team's damage is reducing the enemy's armor to 0 as like efficiently as possible. This is one of the ways to do it. So what that means is your teammates don't have to focus on increasing their armor pen as much. They can focus on weapon spell damage, crit chance, crit damage, max stats, all that stuff there, regen as well, instead of having to worry about offensive penetration. So you're giving your team better options for improving their abilities. And the more you do that, the more damage they do, the quicker fights are, the less regen they have to have at that point because the fights last even less time, so their damage just keeps going up, and it just kind of turns into like an exponentially increasing damage equation, I suppose. Yeah, Crimson Oath is really good. Is this one I would buy gold jewelry for? Probably, if you don't have Somerset. But it feels like a very weird situation where you don't have Somerset, but you do have this DLC. Because even if you buy this jewelry, you still need to get the weapons from the DLC dungeons. So you do need to do them at some point anyway. You could just buy the jewelry and then wait for a ESO Plus free trial and do it then. But that's... like, that lasts a week and you don't know if players are going to be around to be willing to do that sort of thing. Maybe there will be, but yeah. You're basically going to have to do the dungeon at some point to get this set. So just relying on this to complete the set's not going to work. So just keep that in mind. Same with any of these dungeon sets. True Swarm Fury, basically like a high risk, high reward set, but it increases your crit chance and damage. And then gets higher and higher effects the lower your health is. Quadruples your crit damage under 50% health. That's pretty good. But yeah, trying to rely on being low at health isn't good, because there are, especially in PvP, where most builds will have some kind of execute. And when you're under 50% health, that's when some of the executes start to kick in. So yeah. On the other hand, there are some things that your resistances go up the lower your health is. So this, I feel like, would work really well with Pariah, which increases your physical and spell resistance by how much missing health you have. So you can get a shit ton of this while you're using True Thorn. And yeah, you could just be like a deceptively durable and deceptively powerful build that way. But yeah, you have to really know what you're doing in both situations, PvE or PvP, to know if that's going to work for you. Yeah, it's good. It's just not something I would personally use, especially since it also has a Max Magicka 4-piece, which isn't amazing if you just want to focus on damage, because max stats aren't as good as weapon and spell damage or crit chance. Yeah, it's pretty good, pretty fun sounding set. Something different from all the regular shit, which is just increase your stats. I mean, it is just a increase your stats when this happens thing, but at least it feels a little bit different. Okay, Dryleaf. Just like the 2 weeks ago when I talked about this set last, fucking useless. This set, you can, like, comparing this to like something such as Wretched Vitality or the other set that you get from High Isle. What is it? Is it some set fast metal? Oh, sorry. Which is it? You have Old Growth Brewer, which gives you regen when you drink a potion, and it's got 100% uptime basically, because the cooldown for a potion is 45 seconds. So yeah, just there are better things here to use. You also have to consider that your stamina recovery is 0 when you block, and your magic recovery, if you're using an ice staff with the passives, is also 0. So you lose half of this when you block anyway. Like, obviously you're not going to be blocking all the time, but you need to block to be able to do this. So you're going to be doing some kind of blocking. So you are limiting how much this actually impacts you by just trying to get it to work. It just is a backwards, awful set that is replaced, like easier replaced by things that are like easier to get. In my opinion, unfortunately, this is a deconstructed tier set. This thing is fucking garbage. Alright, and the last set is Three Queens. So this is another regen set, but unlike Heroif, it doesn't have a shitty fucking trigger requirement. Just have more Magicka. Now, in this day and age, having more max Magicka isn't great, because they've changed the way scaling works. Before, back in the days when like necropotents, sorry, pet sorcerers were like the shit, they changed the way pet scaled with stats, so they used to scale more with max health. Max Magicka. Now they don't. Back then, it probably would have been amazing on a pet sorcerer to use like a active build, but nowadays it's not as good. But it's just another. It reminds me a bit of True Thorn here. It's just an interesting thing to if you don't want to go like use the normal system of just getting shit tons of spell and weapon damage and crit chance and stuff. If you want to increase your damage by getting really high max stats, this is something that might work well with it. The best case scenario for this would probably be a pet sorcerer with necropotence, like I said before, which is also pretty easy to get. Yeah, this was like the shit back in the day with pet sorks. I still have a fully golded set of this somewhere on Aurelinia, one of my first characters. Yeah, not something you need. And where does this actually come from? Is it Somerset? No, Solstice. My bad. So it's a very new set. Do you need it? I don't think so. And you could probably buy this stuff for pretty low gold on guild stores. Let's have a look. The only thing I want to see is does the amount of recovery you get from it go down depending on its quality? Okay, it does impact the 5-piece. Okay, I suppose that's alright then. But like, for purple quality... Oh, actually... Does it? Okay. Apparently not. Yeah, it's weird. Maybe my food just ran out? No, I've got... Okay, what's going on there? Why is someone... Oh, it could be because of vengeance. True. Okay. Never mind. The quality is not impacted by... sorry, the 5-piece is not impacted by quality then. So, yeah, don't buy that shit. Just buy buy like blue or green quality rings. Fuck that shit. Yeah, alright, so that solves that one. So, yeah, not impacted by quality. Not worth buying, I think. Yeah, interesting at least. Something slightly different from all the other shit. Alright, so that's everything to do with this this daily. Golden Vendor's done. So, any questions, you just give me a holler as always. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support as always. I'll see you next time. And take care for now.